Okay, hi Dana.
Hello.
Yeah, I read you grew up in Wildwood, Florida.
Yeah.
What's that place like?
It's like no other place I've been, really. It's a very, very, very small town. I would say practically a village. I think the population is still under 2,000 people. It was kind of segregated, actually. It was a predominantly black area, and you were either white Southern Baptist or you were black, and we were in between. You know, we came from New York City, where I was actually born. We never quite fit in. It was a sort of small, racist town. It's not so much anymore, but you know, back in the 70s, it sure was.
You said it was a racist town any more than any other place back then in the 70s?
Not in the South. I mean, it was probably less racist than some in the South, you know. I mean, it's amazing how just 30 years ago it was really, I mean, you practically had segregation in some areas down south. But for me, I really tended to gravitate towards the more African-American community. I felt more accepted by them. You know, we were a big family from New York City, Irish Catholic, and there was no one like us in the area.
So was it accepted by the people around you that you like gravitated a bit through the African-American community?
Not at all, no. Teachers had a hard time with it. Preachers wanted to baptize and save my soul in the Baptist churches. I went to the black church instead. My parents were totally cool with it. I mean, they didn't have a racist bone in their body. They're both New Jersey and New Yorkers. So, but yeah, the kids in school, so I was sort of alienated because of it. And as I got older, it got a little bit easier, but there was always sort of a stigma. My first boyfriend, my first true love was a black guy, and that was hard. It was hard for my parents, you know, to have me go through that. But, you know, and eventually it changed, you know, by the time high school happened, and now I have nieces and nephews there, and it's very different. My nephews are Mexican. Their mother is pure Mexican, barely speaks a word of English still, so it's changed.
So growing up there in high school, you got something, you witnessed something from the segregation moving forward?
Yeah, I saw people start to open their minds, and fortunately it was because of music. You know, once, you know, the kids in school were listening to the black artists, when that really happened, you know, we had Prince and you know, all these great black artists that were pop icons, and I think that really made such a huge difference, probably in the world, for, you know.
Can you name some you're thinking of right now, some artists?
Well, you know, I grew up on all the soul and R&B because my parents were really into Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder. But, you know, at the time of me being, you know, the youth pop culture, we'd Seal, we had Prince still, who had been around for a while. You know, Aretha Franklin was still the older audience, but I was a huge fan. Chaka Khan, you know, there were so many big black stars. Of course, I'm going blank. Michael Jackson, you know, how could we forget Michael? You know, that everybody liked across the board. And it just, I think it started to open people's minds.
So you talked a bit about your family, that your mom and dad were totally cool with the whole situation. So can you maybe describe a bit how you grew up there? Like in what kind, well, you said your family was from New Jersey.
They were from New Jersey.
Brothers and sisters?
Brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. You know, so I had a lot of playmates and I had a lot of support. You know, my dad he was a tough ex-Marine, very strict man with probably a lot of anger in him. He had not such an easy life himself. So there was a little madness going on in the house, but my brothers and sisters and I really bonded over music, and we were always writing plays and acting out our favorite albums, Beatles, Queen, Fleetwood Mac, you know. And we really lived in the woods. I mean, I was such a tomboy. It took me, I think I was 11 years old when I finally started wearing a shirt. I started getting boobs, so I had to finally surrender and put a shirt on. The bra took a little longer to get to, but I was just like dirt under the nails, climbing trees, playing football, 4 brothers. You know, I was a real rough little, my friends used to call me Nell, so.
So you said you have 5 siblings. From which one did you like their kind of music taste the most?
My oldest brother and sister, who both passed on at this point, tragically so, they really brought us to the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Queen, You know, that's when I knew I had to do music. When I started hearing that stuff, I stopped listening to pop music completely by the time I was, you know, 11, 10. And I would have to say, you know, later on I appreciated my parents' music, Hank Williams Sr., Ray Charles, Billie Holiday. But when I heard the old classic rock and roll, ooh, I lost my mind over that stuff. So my oldest brother and sister, both brilliant singers, musicians, multi-instrumentalists. They were really the big influence. They brought music to all of us siblings.